My name is Bernard Bromberg. My rank was I was enlisted in the Navy. Eventually went to the submarine service. After so went through a couple of electronic schools and went into the nuclear engineering program and became a reactor operator and I served from 1972 to 1978.
What was your Jewish life and growing up as a kid?
Well, as a kid, my mother was not very religious. She tried when I was a kid, and I was about, I think about 10 or 11 years old. I think she really wanted me. I never really got bar mitzvah, but she wanted me to, I think. When we first moved here, we moved to this neighborhood from the west side of Chicago about 1959, 1960. And we lived in Sawyer and Argyle for about 4 years then. Then we moved about 1963, 64, we moved a couple of buildings over to Kedzie in Argyle, where we lived until I went into the Navy in 1972. And when I came back, with the same building but a different floor with different apartments. So same neighborhood. The neighborhood had changed quite a bit between 1972 and 1978. The Albany Park was majority Jewish when I left in 72. A lot of the Jewish people had migrated north, I think, around that time. So a lot of, there were some Greeks living in the neighborhood and a few black people, mostly Greeks, and some Koreans were moving in. And toward the end of that period, Hispanics and Syrians, I think, started moving. So it became a very diverse neighborhood, but a lot of the Jewish people moved out, so the synagogues were closing down, so that was a big change. So
when you were growing up, was there any thought about joining the military?
No, not really. I was initially, like most Jewish boys, I thought of becoming a doctor maybe, but I never got that much encouragement in school. My grades were good, but not great, and so I wasn't that confident about doing it. But then I had a girlfriend that I broke up with, which she was actually an Irish Catholic girl. So you think? So I told you I wasn't really. My mother didn't approve of it either back then either, but I wasn't that religious back then. Well, we got along for a while, but her old boyfriend came back, so it was like a foreign legion thing in a way, because I broke up with the girl and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I went on my own. At that point, I said, I got to get away from here. Nothing's happening for me here, so I want to get away. So I went into the Navy, initially thinking I wanted to be maybe along medical lines, being a hospital corpsman, being a medical corpsman in the Navy. At that time, we were in Vietnam. This was like 72. So I almost got drafted before when I was in college. I got a deferment because I panicked always. Then I decided back in 72 that I'll go, since nothing was going on, I'll go ahead and join up. But I'll join the Navy, because if I join the Army, they'll send me to Vietnam. And a Jewish kid like me is not a fighter, not a lover either, but not a fighter. So anyway, so I decided I'll join the Navy, I'll be safer. It didn't occur to me, I didn't have the circle or the brain to think, well, if you kill a corpsman, what do they do with hospital? I think I was going to work in a hospital. What does the Navy do with hospital corpsmen? They attach them to the Marines. And where do the Marines go? They go fight in Vietnam. So I could have been in Vietnam without a gun. I would have been out. So I didn't think it never occurred to me until actually after I got out of the Navy. But then we took a place, when you go to the Navy, you take some placement tests. They want to find out where your interests lie and where your abilities lie. And we had a company of about, I think our boot camp company was about 50 people in the company, this one company. And me and 3 other guys tested high in our exams in boot camp. These are preliminary exams to find out what skills you have, where they should place you. And we scored very high in test taking for number 1. But apparently we had some I think you would say circle, we had some brains, so we knew how to take exams, we knew how to figure things out, we knew how to solve problems. So they called me and these guys in, and they said, would you guys be interested in going into the nuclear power program? So it was nothing that had occurred to me at all. The Navy offered it to me, and I was so flattered, and since I got stroked so nicely, my ego was, someone finally thinks I'm smart. In high school, I mean, everyone was smart in high school. We're all a bunch of Jewish kids, so nobody told you were especially smart. They sent me to the Billfish, SSN 676. At that point, it was in the yards in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. So when I first saw her, she was like she was like stripped for painting and things were removed. So it was hard to recognize her as a submarine. She was like in dry dock. You couldn't see too much of the boat. So she wasn't her most glamorous then.